Africa, the cradle of humanity, has a long and complex history. Sadly, this history includes the practice of slavery. But African slavery was very different from what came later. Before Europeans arrived, slavery existed in various forms across the continent. It was often a consequence of war or debt. Slaves were seen as possessions, but there were laws and customs that granted them some protections. In many African societies, slaves could earn their freedom or even rise to positions of power. Their children were not automatically born into slavery. This system was based on exploitation, but it was not based on race. It lacked the systematic brutality and dehumanization that characterized the transatlantic slave trade. The arrival of European powers in the 15th century marked a turning point. European demand for labor on plantations in the Americas fueled a new kind of slavery. This system was built on the false premise of racial superiority. Africans were deemed racially inferior, justifying their enslavement. The transatlantic slave trade was born, forever staining the history of humanity. Millions of Africans were forcibly removed from their homes. They endured unimaginable horrors aboard slave ships. The journey across the Atlantic, known as the Middle Passage, was a nightmare. Many perished from disease, starvation, or despair. Those who survived faced a life of forced labor and brutal treatment. Despite the horrors they faced, enslaved Africans never surrendered their humanity. Stories abound of courage, resilience, and resistance. From shipboard revolts to acts of sabotage on plantations, they fought back against their oppressors. Many enslaved Africans held on to their cultural traditions, passing down stories, songs, and beliefs to future generations. These acts of resistance, both big and small, serve as a testament to the indomitable spirit of those who were enslaved. Their stories remind us that even in the face of unimaginable cruelty, hope and the fight for freedom can endure. The transatlantic slave trade had a devastating impact on Africa. It decimated populations, fueled conflicts, and disrupted social structures. The loss of human capital stunted economic growth. The psychological scars of slavery continue to affect many African societies. Yet Africa is also a continent of resilience. From the ashes of this dark chapter, African nations rose. They fought for and achieved independence. Today they strive for progress and equality. The legacy of slavery is a reminder of the human capacity for both immense cruelty and extraordinary resilience. Remembering these stories is crucial to understanding the present and shaping a future free from oppression and injustice.